There. I'm a habitual speeder. Anybody else habitual speeders? Where are my people? That's part of the problem right there. There's not enough of us. There's nothing wrong with traffic we couldn't fix with some speed, folks. Let's go. You know how to make more water go through a hose? Turn it up faster. There's trouble merging in this country, too. Let me tell you how merging works. Listen up, listen carefully. I want you to take this with you tonight, okay? Here's how you merge. Ready for this? Speed up. You see how that works? Go faster. The term is merge, not wedge. Here's the all-American merge right here. 10, 20, 30, 40, 30, 20, 10. If all the traffic's going 70, you don't come down the ramp at 50 and make a hole. You come down at 80 and find one. Yeah. Be a team player. Everybody cheers that. No one ever does it. Let me tell you how you get off the highway. Exit, then brake. It's not brake exit. It's exit brake. That works best for all of us. How many of you here suck at driving? How many of you suck at driving? I need to see more hands. Way more hands. I need to see way more hands. A couple of you are honest. A couple of you, the rest of you, you don't understand. Here's a traffic scenario I'd like to ask you about. Oncoming traffic. You need to make a left through the oncoming traffic. How much room do some of you need? You only have to miss the bumper of the car that just went past. Some of you apparently need to see the horizon. I've made a left out of the second position many times in my life before. I'm like, okay, he could have gone there. He could have gone there. Could have gone there. He's not going here. I am. Boom, right there. Yeah. We got places to go. And who put in all these traffic circles and didn't tell anybody how they work? That circle doesn't have to be empty for you to enter it. There just has to be enough room for you to fit. Pick out a hole and hit that thing like an NFL running back. If you've ever driven up to a traffic circle and stopped, I want you to go home tonight, lay down your keys, and never ever pick them up ever again. I told you, I'm always speeding. I'm 15 over when I'm early. I don't know what it is. I just think if gamblers could attribute their problem to a disease, I should be able to plead the same thing, don't you? Please, Your Honor, don't find me. I'm just going to speed again. I need treatment. You ever been on a two-lane highway, seen an RV, 10 or 12 cars stacked up behind it? Nobody can pass. One guy, some psycho guy, goes nuts. From the back of the pack, passes the whole row. You ever see that? I'm that guy. Nobody else has any guts, I'll do it. See you suckers later. I think passing's a lost art form. I can pass on a two-lane bridge with a school bus coming at me, no problem. It's a question of three things: heart, commitment, horsepower. That's the other one. You don't want to pass in that smart car. I don't feel very smart right now. I went into a parking garage in Seattle recently. I pay my money. I go up the ramp. There's a big sign on the wall that says speed limit 5 miles an hour. And then in big red letters it says strictly enforced. 5. How'd you like to drive around the corner, see a cop standing there with a radar gun? Hey, 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 hey. Chase me with his flashlight. Woo! Do you know why I pulled you over? No. Got you doing 7. How'd you like to go to court on that? Mr. Upton, been charged with doing 7 and a 5. How do you plead? Embarrassed. In the state of Washington, where I'm from, we have some of the most restrictive anti-smoking laws in the country due to secondhand smoke. They're good laws. You know what I'm tired of, though, we need a law about? Everywhere I fly now, I have to sit like this. You know what I'm getting tired of? Secondhand fat. Every time I get on a jet, there's a 600-pounder coming down the aisle. I'm like, oh, no, 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 not. They always say the same thing. Can I sneak past you? Your sneaking days are over, my friend. You sneak past the Golden Corral one time, all right? You guys can relax on that joke. I look around the room before I do it. Sometimes I have to change it to 800. Felt pretty safe at 600 tonight. If you saw my last special, I made fun of millennials. I don't know if you remember that or not. Yeah, it was quite popular. Do we have anybody here tonight under the age of 30? Any 20-somethings? That's still the dumbest group of humans I've ever met in my life. You're not dumb academically, I'll get to that, but you are soft emotionally, I can tell you that. The reason I say that, when I was growing up, our parents let us play in the street, climb trees, and blow stuff up. And you know what happened if you got hurt or maimed? You got a new name. I had two friends I grew up with, Amer and Niner. When Amer was 6, he was in the garage with his big brothers blowing stuff up. He lost his right eye. It was closed the rest of his life. He looked like he was aiming a gun. That's how he got the name Amer. He was the Amer. Everybody called him Amer. I did not know his name was not Amer. Till the first day of 3rd grade, the teacher said, Ross Thomas. We all went, Ross Thomas, who? Amer, is your name Ross? We started laughing. That sounded funnier to us than Amer did. And Amer says to the teacher, no, my name's Amer. My mom is the only one that calls me Ross. And she goes, well, Amer, how'd you get that name? He goes, do you imagine now a kid even pretending to point a gun at a teacher? There'd be a lockdown, there'd be a helicopter above the school. My friend Niner in the 4th grade, there were 4 of us. We were all out in the woods together. We were all climbing trees. We were all up about 15 feet, and he fell. And on the way down, he was trying to grab branches, and by the time he hit the ground, he'd lost most of his ring finger. And every time I tell this story, I still picture it. It's 55 years ago, it still makes me laugh. Because he got up and he's dusting himself off. He's going, I'm bleeding somewhere. I'm bleeding. I'm cut. I don't know what. And my other friend says, look at your hand. And he screamed and he ran home. And we all climbed down and followed him, but none of us thought to look for his finger. About 4 days later, he's back in class. His hand's all heavily bandaged up. We're learning about decimal points for the first time in our life. He raises his hand. He says, I have 9.2 fingers. Called him Niner for the rest of his life. When I was a kid, everybody had a nickname. Every single kid. Nobody went by their real name. And it was given to you by your friends, usually about a body part that was not flattering. I had friends who were Paunch, Taterhead, Lips, Chin. Lips had big old Pete Davidson lips. Chin didn't have one. We originally called him Viola because we knew he'd never play one. I had another friend in high school. He had a short right arm. It was fully functional, but it was a short arm on this side, right? So he had a big hand and a little hand. We called him Clock. Everybody called him Clock. The teachers called him Clock. He was Clock. Clock was awesome, too. He was in my second period algebra class, and we were supposed to be in our seats every day at 9 o'clock when the bell rang, but Clock would always wait out in the hall until that bell rang, and he'd burst through the door every morning like this. It was never not funny. Every single day we waited for that moment and laughed for 10 minutes. One day we're sitting in class, the bell rings, and he doesn't come through the door. We're like, oh, well, that's weird. Where's Clock? Must be absent. Well, he was tardy. 10 minutes later, he burst through that door like... We laughed until 9:30. And Clock was the best student in class, and he was by far the best student in class. And every Friday we had to race him on problems. The teacher would put problems up on the board. We had to compete against him. We called it Beat the Clock. Nobody could beat him. He had that left hand going like this, and the eraser in his short hand. And like... One time in PE class, this is after class, we're in the locker room changing, right? And we had two new kids in class, and they were bullies. And they were bullying Clock. And so Clock's in there, and he goes, I'm going to knock you out with this hand. And then he goes, boom, and just spins this kid and knocks him out, just boom, hits the ground. And then he turns the other one and goes, or this one. And when he hit that kid, we all hooted and hollered, and the teacher came running out of his office. What's going on? What's going on? We said, well, these guys were bullying Clock, and he knocked one of them out. And by then, this kid's kind of getting up, and the teacher just walks over and goes, you just got knocked out by a kid with a half arm. Hope you learn to keep your mouth shut. And that was the end of it. Nobody got sent to the office. Nobody got suspended. Nobody's parents got called. Nowadays, Clock would have been the one that got suspended for throwing that first punch. And then you'd had to bring your parents to get an anger management plan. Well, I got angry and I punched that kid. That's the plan. Can you imagine now calling kids by their afflictions? Hey, here's my buddies, Blinky and Snort. Here's my other friend, Orphan. His parents were anti-vaxxers. Not accurate.